You wanted to, but you're scoping it out, right? Okay, I forgot my debit card.
Me too.
That's what everybody says. I forgot my debit card. I feel like I've seen the Lyons sisters around before. Have I seen you around before? Have we been at events before together? I believe I have. I don't know, maybe you haven't remember me, but I believe. I recall introducing the Lyons sisters before. Grab a seat, everybody. Sit back, relax. We got a beautiful, beautiful treat for you. The Lyons sisters are going to ask the Lyons sisters to please make their way up to the stage. The Lyons sisters are Metis Jiggers, whose passion for culture has taken them all over North America as performance and as teachers. Being Swampy Cree Métis from the Métis homelands of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, the sisters learned traditional dance from a very early age. Métis Jiggers is a beautiful blend of traditional First Nations and European styles, and their unique style combines everything you've learned from Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Ontario. Everybody, come on, let's give it up for the Lyons sisters!
My name is Talia, and I'm Serena, and we are the Lyons sisters. You just saw us with the Red River Jig. We're Swampy Cree Métis from Northern Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And the Red River Jig is kind of the unofficial Métis anthem, so we generally like to open our workshops or presentations with that number. until 1951. Dance is an important part of Indigenous cultures, and as Métis, our dance style is called jigging. Like a lot of cultures, jigging survived by being passed down to each generation in secret. Dancing is medicine and is a celebration of life. Jigging is in our blood and it's part of who we are. So now we're going to get started with a little bit of history. So, who were the Métis? Historically, Métis refers to people of mixed heritage that descended from European fur traders and indigenous women. Their children would marry other people like themselves and manage to create a distinct Métis culture with their own language, art, music, and clothing. Métis people are connected through an extensive network of family relation, and it's pretty common to ask about your family or community to figure out which family you are from. So we're going to tell you a little bit about ours later on in the presentation. So you'll notice that there are two distinct Métis flag colors, the red and the blue one. The red flag often symbolizes the courage, strength, and vitality, representing the life force and the resilience of Indigenous communities, and it is commonly flown in the Alberta Métis communities, while the blue flag represents wisdom, spirituality, and harmony, reflecting a connection to the natural world. It is commonly flown in the Métis homeland in the provinces of Manitoba and Saskatchewan. The infinity symbol, a horizontal figure 8, signifies the immortality of the Métis culture and the joining of the two distinct cultures to create one unique Métis culture. So Métis people speak two main languages, Michif and Cree. Michif is now the official language of the Métis Nation and is a combination of French nouns and Cree verbs. It was historically spoken by Métis of French descent in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, British Columbia, Ontario, and parts of the Northwest Territories. Cree is another common Métis language and has various dialects. A lot of our family members speak Swampy Cree. It is historically spoken by the Métis of English, Scottish, and Irish descent, mainly in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Alberta. So the start of colonization resulted in marriages between fur traders and Indigenous women, leading to the birth of Métis culture. In 1670, the Hudson's Bay Company established its first fur trading post and expanded along Hudson's and James Bays, forming distinct English and French Métis communities. In 1869, the Hudson's Bay Company sold Rupert's Land to the Dominion of Canada without consulting the Métis, and in response, Louis Riel led the Red River Resistance by seizing the upper Fort Erie trading posts. In 1876, the Indian Act was passed, forcing Indigenous people to assimilate, relocate to reserves, and attend government and church-run residential or day schools. And then in 1885, the forced dispossession united the Métis across Manitoba and Saskatchewan, sparking the Northwest Rebellion as a final stand for land, language, and cultural rights. Finally, in 1969, there was the creation of the Festival du Voyageur in St. Boniface to celebrate the French-Canadian Métis culture. So the fur trade started because of the 17th century fashion craze where everybody wanted to wear beaver felt hats. The main people involved in the early fur trade were Indigenous peoples and French, so European goods would be traded for beaver pelts, making some Indigenous people dependent on European goods. Métis people were the original voyageurs and were the essential labor force of the fur trade. They would transport goods by canoe along rivers and lakes at various trading posts. Additionally, they were hunters, guides, interpreters, trappers, fishers, traders, and river lot farmers. Many also worked along railways. During the early years of the fur trade, France encouraged marriages between French and First Nations people as a way to consolidate alliances and to spread the French culture. The fur trade route extended from Quebec to Alaska and spread Métis culture all across the nation, establishing distinct Métis communities and settlements across the Canadian prairies, the Great Lakes region, the Red River Valley, parts of Ontario, and British Columbia. So I'm sure everybody's been to the Bay. The Hudson's Bay Company and Northwest Company were two fur trade companies in North America during the late 18th and early 19th centuries. As we mentioned before, the Canadian government began issuing scrip to Métis people around 1870. There were two kinds. There was a money scrip and a land scrip. And it was a quick and easy way for the government to get Métis rights to land and in the West and to open it for commercial development and light settlement, while giving the Métis money and a promise that they could live somewhere else.
So we mentioned Louis Riel earlier, but who is Louis Riel? He was born in 1844 to a large French Métis Catholic family in St. Boniface, Manitoba. He was the eldest of 11 children and the son of Louis Riel Sr. and Julie Lajuotière. Over time, he became a prominent political leader and led resistance movements against the government of Canada and its first Prime Minister, John MacDonald. The Riel family descendants still inhabit St. Boniface, which is now part of Winnipeg and the heart of the French community.
When Hudson's Bay began reviewing Rupert's land to sell it to the Dominion of Canada without consulting Métis people, Louis Riel and Gabriel Dumont began the river resistance. They seized Upper Fort Garry to try to preserve Métis land and cultural rights. The land survey was stopped and the Métis established a government with Riel as president, but he was forced to flee to the U.S. for his own safety. But in his absence, Métis rights continued to erode. Riel was convinced to return to Canada in 1884 to petition John A. Macdonald to address Métis grievances, but the Prime Minister would not negotiate. He stalled while his militia grew bigger. And then the Métis were greatly outnumbered and defeated in the Battle of Batoche in 1885.
So, following Riel's trial and execution for treason, the Métis faced increased marginalization, cultural suppression, and political alienation. Many were forced to live in undesirable land or in temporary locations. And although the government did eventually grant land to the Saskatchewan Métis, much of it was brought by settlers. However, over time, Riel became a hero to the Métis and to the French Canadians. So while Louis Riel may have died on November 16, 1885, his sacrifice is one of the reasons that our family exists today and why we're able to share culture and pass it on to future generations.